This podcast is sponsored by the ultimate course on manifesting more joy into your life. Are you tired of feeling stuck in a rut and searching for something that can bring some happiness into your life? This course is designed to help you uncover the secrets of manifesting more joy and happiness into your life and to keep it consistently. Say goodbye to negativity and hello to a brighter and more fulfilling future. Enroll now and start living a life full of positivity and abundance. It's time to start feeling more joy in your life. Don't wait. Sign up today and open the door to the life you've always wanted. Go to amyvanmeel.com/joy to sign up today. Hello, and welcome back to the Manifesting Millions podcast, to the Amy Van Meel YouTube channel. Delighted to have you here. So, it is episode 101. 101 Dalmatians is always the first thing that comes to mind when I'm thinking about 101. Still from the YouTube side of things, kind of getting used to... I'm not actually getting used to being on camera. I'm super used to being on camera after having led meetings for many years and being on camera a lot, and I recorded videos, as I mentioned, I was going to say yesterday, but this could be days between, or weeks between when you're watching this, for my design business, so very comfortable with it. So today, I noticed yesterday when I was recording, it was later in the afternoon, which is great. It's like this lovely, juicy, creative space for me. However, the sun was going down, and by the time we finished recording the video together, it was kind of dark in here. So thank goodness that there's like some lights on my desk. But anyway, so today I've hooked myself up with a sweet little ring light. So if I seem a little extra bright, that's why. It's also unbelievably bright. It's like 2 inches above my camera, the way that I have everything set up. And I just feel like I'm going to have like circular stars in my eyes for the rest of the day. But that's okay. So, I was all fired up after recording yesterday's episode. It was in fact the 100th episode. If you listened all the way through, thank you. And you might have heard me at the end go, oh my God, I think this is 100 episodes. It 100% was my 100th episode. So, yay. It's only my second video today. So we had our 100th podcast episode with our first video, which is maybe kind of a fun correlation. So today is 2. Also, for my YouTube people, you can see this. For my non-YouTube people, you won't be able to see any of these things, but I am wearing one of my favorite t-shirts today and wasn't in the mood to put a sweater on just yet, so I put it at long sleeve. But like, now I'm hot. So here we are. Okay, once I finished recording yesterday, like I said, I was so lit up. Spending time with you in this way is really a special thing for me. I love it so much. It's just a really fun way for me to connect with you. I know it's kind of one-sided. It's not kind of one-sided. It's 100% one-sided. It's just me talking to you. You might be talking back to me. I don't know. I hope you do. I do that all the time in the car. Dave and I were driving somewhere last weekend, and the navigation was chatting away in the background, and she's like, take a slight right turn. And I'm like, all right, we're taking a slight right. And I can hear Dave chuckling to the side. I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'm in the car by myself enough that like I chat back to the navigation person. So yeah. Okay. I promise I'm going to get into it today. Once I finished recording, I had a very interesting situation where like tech just kind of like stopped working. Like the video wasn't uploading to my cloud. My phone just like straight up wouldn't open things. It kept getting stuck. My computer was doing weird things, and I'm like, maybe this is like my office trying to be like, Amy, yo, get out of here, girl. You're done. Go read or learn or fucking relax. Like, get out. So, yeah. What it did, though, is it gave me this really like super fun space to kind of think about and integrate. I'm in this tremendous season of learning and integrating and really up-leveling in big fucking massive ways. It is amazing what the last 3 weeks have yielded in my awareness, in my life, in my reality, in my emotions, and how I just like physically and emotionally and mentally feel. So that's been really, really cool. Last night I go to bed, and I've mentioned in the last episode, I'm not big on social media. It's not like, I'm not like, oh God, I just like, what's happening on Instagram? I almost need to intentionally go, let's open up Instagram to kind of see some things. But because I very carefully curate who I follow, I'm almost always met with really spectacular content. So I'm getting ready to go to bed last night. I'm tucked in, and I had this moment where I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to pop open Instagram and like maybe check out if there's like a cool reel or something. I open up Instagram. I see a post from my coach. So the post is about entering your feminine era. And I'm like, okay. So I start reading through, and I'll link her account in the show notes as well. So you can absolutely go check out her posts because they're really great. So start reading through like the text part of the post, right? Because there's like the video and then there's the text. Don't laugh at me. I don't know what it's called. I just call it the post, but then the post is the whole thing. So I start reading through it. Basically, it's three things. I think it's 3 things to do to like move into your feminine era. And I'm like, okay, tell me more. So I'm going to read them for you. And then I'm going to tell you what absolutely friggin' blew my absolute mind. And I was just like, what? Okay. So I love how she starts this post. You're now ready to enter your feminine era because you wouldn't be reading this if you weren't. Also, if you weren't entering it, you would not be hearing this from me today. So, you didn't find this post by accident. It's a quantum universe. Welcome, love. This is truly where it all begins. So here's the 3 things that she lists. Let go of all control. Number 1, it's not just about day-to-day decisions. It's about trusting the universe and your role in it as the creator of your entire reality. Feminine energy flourishes in ebb and flow, in play and creativity, and the more you try to control, the more resistance you face. Resistance creates stagnant energy and pushes your desires away. Number 2, completely shed any shame about what it means to be feminine. It is not about weakness. It is about profound strength. It's about an open heart. As you embrace femininity, you'll discover it's the most empowering energy you'll ever channel. And number 3, and I absolutely love this, probably the most important step, release the need to prove your worth to men or anyone else. The feminist movement has evolved, but somewhere along the line, it led us to mirroring masculine traits to feel empowered and valued, and this is not a natural part of our being. The post continues. Highly recommend that you go check it out because it is really amazing. But those 3 steps were amazing. Now, already like packed full of things, and like as I read it again, there's some really amazing like insights that are popping out to me again, which is, this is what I love about like these quantum moments of just layers upon layers upon layers of waves collapsing into form. Well, I will chat about that at some point, but I have been deep into quantum physics, y'all. All right, here is what blew my mind. Let go of all control. It's not just about day-to-day decisions. It's about trusting the universe and your role in it as the creator of your entire reality. That sentence, I could read, and I have read a version of that sentence. I've heard it hundreds, thousands of times. I don't even know. A ton. It's something that really anybody who teaches about manifestation talks about. It's also one of the fucking hardest things to do. Recovering control person, please raise your hands. However, yesterday hit differently. So I swear I could like see my brain light up. This is what I sent to my coach. I was just reading your post on feminine era and step 1 about releasing control and trusting. And I had a massive realization. I am the creator, aka the leader. So I am instructing what I desire, and my team, aka the universe, figures out how to get it done. I don't need to micromanage the universe. My team has its shit together. I just need to tell it what I want and then get the fuck out of the way. This is how I have led powerful teams for the last more than 3 years, which means I already know how to fucking do it and that I'm really fucking good at it. I was always blown away by what my team brought back to me, so it stands to reason that it would only be the same or greater if it is source doing the lift. If I had a little mic to drop, I'd drop a mic, but like my mics are busy recording right now. Okay, I want to unpack this a little bit. So I worked in tech for a number of years. As I mentioned in the previous episode, I no longer have that job. I was a leader of teams, manager, whatever you want to call it, for more than 3 years. So back in 2020, I think, is when I got promoted into a leadership role, and I'm not going to be humble about it. I fucking crushed it, and I got promoted a couple more times in like a very short amount of time. So I've led teams that are brand new, big teams. I've led teams that are international. I've led leads. So where, like I have leaders of teams reporting into me. That was a very interesting and exciting experience to be in that space because it's a whole different realm of influence. But here's what stood out to me. So I've never been a believer in micromanaging. It doesn't make any sense to me. It just seems like the most illogical way to go about doing things. If you have a team who is really good at doing things, why the fuck would you get in the way? Like, that's not your job. If it was my job to, for example, when I started, I was leading a frontline team. If it was my job to answer calls or work with customers on chat or answer emails, well then, of course, I'm going to be in it and doing the best that I can. But once I'm leading a team, that's not my job anymore. My job is actually to make sure that the team is well resourced, that they're fully supported, that I'm making sure they're doing a great job. I'm identifying any learning opportunities, working with them to like improve on those and really just fucking crush it, right? Beyond that, I also have a firm belief that as leaders, whether you're called a lead in your title or you're a manager in your title or whatever version of like the word that is associated to you having people report into you, I firmly believe that part of our job is also developing the person. It is not just about I feel like I'm getting on a tangent, but it's not just about like the work. It's this human as a whole. The whole human shows up to do the work. Each person has really unique gifts and skills that makes them so good at what they do. And it's my job to make sure that like I'm helping them craft and grow and stretch into the next thing. So once I shifted to leading leaders, then of course my priorities shifted a little bit. And here's where it gets really fucking cool. Leading leaders meant that I was not only developing the skill of folks who often were new into leadership roles, so like helping them learn how to lead other people, but people who lead teams tend to think differently. Not always, I don't know what I was about to say there. It's not always to a benefit. Like there are definitely people who like feel like they're managers or want to be leaders because they're like, I want to do my own thing. And that's not exactly what I mean. But there's a different scale of thinking as you start like stretching sort of beyond the front area of the work, right? If you're an accountant and your job is to make sure that all of the taxes get filed and everything gets properly done and you're working with client relationships and like that's your thing, you're really good at that work. If you are the director over those accountants or partner over those accountants, you may have your hand in some of that day-to-day work, but much more likely you are looking at a broader scale to the business, to maybe the team or unit that you're specifically responsible for. And you're kind of going, okay, so the team is doing this work really well. What is getting in the way? Where is the business going? What do we need to start thinking about and planning and working towards, right? So this is where it gets really fucking exciting, because now you're working with people who are already, and you can teach people how to start to think bigger. It's super fun to like help people like stretch and break open that box of like, it's just this thing. And I'm like, actually, it's like this thing, but like here. So as I worked at developing teams and growing their skill sets, once they got the basic handle of the actual like regular day-to-day stuff of leadership, then the next focus was, okay, so how do I now, I had an amazing boss for a brief period of time. And she basically said to me, Amy, your job is to make sure that your team is so well operating, that they are so autonomous, that they know exactly what they're doing, that you basically have nothing to do. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, so then what the fuck am I supposed to do all day? And that took some time for me to learn that. But basically the idea is my job is to make sure they're operating well, but I'm holding the vision, and I have, different levels of information coming at me because I'm in different spaces, and I'm bringing that information to the front. However, it is my team's job to get it done. All right. Now you might be wondering, why have we gone on for the last 10 minutes about how you work as a leader? Amy, I promise I'm going to pull it together. So all of this work was, imagine, now granted, I will grant that like this is specific to a business, right? So the visions and a lot of the strategy and work that we were working on was related to the business and the line in particular that we were involved in. However, there was lots of work that we were doing that was related to the culture of the team, the growth of the team, and the growth of the people on the team. And I always had this really big vision of powerful people at every possible level. I have never, ever thought that you need to have lead or manager or whatever in your title in order to be someone who leads others. Never, ever believe that for a moment. So how do we not only take care of the business, that's of course priority number one, also develop these bigger things. So what I learned to do was to go, okay, so there's this seems to be something that keeps coming up. What is this? I would take this to the team and go find out what's going on here, because I have some thoughts about what that might be, but I don't know if those thoughts are valid, or maybe I'm probably missing a ton of information. So go find out what this is, bring it back to me. Okay. The next iteration of that was, we have this knowledge, we have this information. What's my desire? What do I actually want to have happen? And it could be something as simple as, we need to build some version of a tracker. Somebody else friggin' loves doing spreadsheets, which is amazing. I can make many a spreadsheet, and I have, but it's not my jam. Whereas someone else might really love it. So I go, here's the idea. Go play with it. And, these are the outcomes that I need out of it. Because again, we're talking about a business. But how you get there, totally up to you. You do you. Come talk to me if you're stuck. Amazing. Just about every single time, the stuff that would come back absolutely blew my friggin' mind. And there would be information, data, insights shared with me that I never even thought to look for. So how does this tie into, and I understand that the original post was talking about moving into your feminine era. We're going to talk about this today as the broad brush for creating the reality that you want. So how does all of this tie into creating the reality you want? How do I make this as short as possible? So we are taught and I'm going to just go with like this broad. You may not have heard this before, so this might be the first time, and that's totally fine. But effectively, the idea is that our thoughts create our reality, right? Our feelings, our thoughts, our internal state, this whole inside meat suit thing, our mind, our consciousness creates our reality. The very first time that I heard someone say to me that I've created everything that exists in my life, I wanted to punch her in the face. And I see that reaction when I share with friends who are like, why does this keep happening? And I'm like, well, technically, you're the one making it happen. So everything in us is what creates what's outside of us. Okay? Everything. Now, I'm going to throw one little thing in here. I know lots of times someone will go, but Amy, I didn't intend for that earthquake to happen. I didn't intend for that car accident to happen. I didn't intend for somebody to get sick. Hopefully. You are correct. So you may not have caused the earthquake, right? You may not have caused the accident. However, we always have our influence, how we interact with that is basically how we interact with that. I feel like I just went kind of like in a weird infinity loop. Okay, let me try to clarify this a little further. Car accident happens. It's an event. It just happens. There are facts, right? Car A struck car B. Occupants in both cars died. It was really dark. A really dark example. But anyway, those are the facts, right? Those are pretty hard to dispute. My reaction, how I experience that's all on me. So let's say, for example, in car B, all the occupants that died were my loved ones. I could take that to mean that bad things always happen to me, that my loved ones are always taken away from me, that my life is miserable, that I probably deserve this, that whatever. I can make it mean a billion different things. I could make it mean nothing. Whatever. No one will like them anyway. Good riddance. I truly hope you don't have people like that in your life. The point is that event is outside of us, but everything in terms of how we experience it and how we interact with it is inside of us. All right? So, with that basic premise in mind, if you think about your life, everything that exists in the outer reality of your life, meaning that everything that you see, hear, feel, touch, taste, sense on the outside of your life, that is all created by our internal state. So, where it gets tricky is when we start to, we're learning about manifestation. We're learning that we are intentional and highly powerful creators. And we're now starting to learn like, okay, so I can actually create any reality I want. Okay, I want to be a multimillionaire. I want to be thin. I want to have the most amazing relationship ever. Cool. So again, lots of manifestation teachers will talk about like, be very clear on what it is that you want. All right. We got that. We got the clear. Where the problem comes in is, and I am not immune to this. I have spent many years in this muddy puddle. The problem comes in that we now are trying to figure out the how. I think in part it's just how our brains work. I also think, honestly, that in society, at least in the last something amount of years, there's been a real focus on setting goals. And my favorite is a SMART goal. And I say that sarcastically because I'm not a fan of SMART goals. This idea that, okay, I want to have a wonderful, loving relationship. I am currently single. I want to have this amazing relationship with a man or woman or other in my life. So we immediately go, here's where I am, here's where I want to be. How do I close this gap? What do I need to do to close this space? We are completely gone on the how. But the how is actually not our job. And that is a really weird, almost like trust exercise. So we're going through some really big manifestation principles in very, very like short form, which is totally cool because it's actually really how I want to share information with all of you. So we exist in a co-creative process with the universe, and I use universe or source. It is the same energy, whether it's universe, source, God. Why have all of the other names for our deities vanished out of my mind? All of the other deities. So this is not exclusive to people who aren't religious or have to be spiritual. It's whatever that you believe in as that source of higher power, energy, intelligence, whatever that looks like. It really doesn't matter. But we work in this co-creative state. All right. Effectively, we say, here's what I would like to create. And then we're supposed to get out of the way. And universe gets to work on the how. Our job is to make sure that we remain clear on what we want to create. We hold that intention and we do our inner work. So it's not enough to just go, I want to have a Ferrari in the driveway. Ooh, that took me a second. There are states of being of a person who has a Ferrari in the driveway, right? They believe certain things about themselves. They believe certain things about the world. There's lots of like stuff behind. So the stuff behind is where your work is to go, okay, I want to have a Ferrari. Do I believe that I'm the type of person who owns a Ferrari? Great first question to ask. Because if the answer is no, it tells you, well, there's step one. Let's go figure that out. But your job is not going, okay, so I want to have a Ferrari. So if a Ferrari costs, I'm going to make up some numbers here. If a Ferrari costs $250,000, then I have $5,000 in the bank right now. Okay, so I don't have enough. I can't finance the Ferrari because I don't make enough money. I don't have that much money in the bank. Okay, so then maybe now we start to think about the how. These pieces are not our work, right? Those pieces, if you think about it like a manager saying, hey, Amy, I want you to do this thing for me. And then immediately afterwards gets in there and goes, okay, so we're going to do it this way. And I'm going to do this. And then we're going to do this. And then we're going to do this. Like you're standing there going, well, what the fuck do you want me to do then? All right, I guess I'll throw my hands up and stand out of the way and let you do your thing. And when you're ready for me to actually come in and help out, I'll jump in. But you seem to be kind of convinced that you got this. So carry on with your bad self, right? This idea of the leader of a team handing off work and then getting the fuck out of the way really resonated with me yesterday. And I'm hopeful that this has resonated with you. I know we have covered some really big things today. And I promise, definitely do lots of reading, check out other podcasts, follow some great accounts on Instagram. I can see it formulating in my mind. I have the most fucking amazing idea for a course that I'm going to be preparing, and I'm very likely going to be pre-selling. So it might be a bit of it's absolutely going to be a step in trust. But stay tuned because I'm very fucking excited about what it's going to look like. However, I kind of went off a ramble. My point is, I'm really excited to bring some broader manifestation principles and understanding and knowledge and wisdom and share it in a way that makes sense so you can understand some of the stuff that's happening in the background. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you're just like, give me the Coles notes. Let's get on with our fucking day. Totally fair. I'm going to play with both of those spaces. If you want all the science, that's probably not where I'm going to lean into, but I will share some science because I know I definitely am very fascinated by the science behind it because there absolutely is science that supports all of this, which is very cool. Who would have thought in high school biology or chemistry that these things would exist? So what I'm much more passionate about is taking these broad principles and making them tangible so that you can actually apply them into your day-to-day. That's what I'm actually excited about. When we think about creating change, I shouldn't probably say we, because maybe you don't think about it this way. When I think about creating change, I'm always thinking about this like really big, okay, I'm going to do this thing and it's going to unlock the key and everything's just going to be amazing. And it might be, but most of the time it actually looks really tiny. It's these little things that we are doing repetitively. So what I'm going to be focusing on is some like very key kind of things that I hear people talking about all the time. Amy, why am I always attracting the worst fucking drivers around me in traffic? Why am I always late? Why is my boss such a jerk? I don't know, right? So my intent for this course that I'm going to be pulling together is to take these broad manifestation principles, share them with you at the front so you can understand what's going on, and then work with some tangible day-to-day life situations so that you can measurably change your life every single day. Because what I find, at least for myself, that when I'm talking about, or when I'm reading about like how if you want to change your life, just change your thoughts. And I'm like, well, that's fucking easy. I only have something like 100,000 thoughts a day, most of them that I'm not even aware of. And usually they somehow seem to come up before I'm even thinking of like what they're thinking about. It's very meta. So sure, I'll just change my thoughts. It's going to be fine. And bam, my life changes. And it seems so big. And then there's like the repetition and doing it over and over. And it just begins to feel, at least it has felt for me for a long time, like this fucking huge homework assignment. And I know for myself, my life has a lot less in it than other people. I have no kids. At the moment, I'm working in my business, right? So I'm not trying to balance a full-time job at the same time. I have few responsibilities, which is very much by design. My life is pretty much exactly what I've set it up to be because that's the life that I desire to live. But we have lots of things going on. I'm not unaware that like you might have kids or jobs or multiple jobs or, you know, whatever going on. So I want to make it as sweet and simple and tangible that you can like grab a short lesson and go, okay, here's what I'm going to practice for like the next 24 hours. And like, let's see what that looks like so that they're tangible and you can make shifts. Because the truth is little things add up. That's actually how we get big, massive shifts. If you think about at the base kind of level, imagine you want to release weight. If you're trying to release 100 pounds, you're not going to release it in 24 hours. I sincerely hope you're not going to release it in 24 hours. I don't know what possible scenario would exist that happened, but it is not a good one, right? Because the body needs to acclimate and adjust. And it's also not one thing that shifts. It's not like, okay, if I stop eating chips, instantly I'll lose 100 pounds, right? It's usually a series of small things that you're doing continuously over and over and over again. That's what creates those shifts. So I want to talk about those. I'm super fucking excited the ideas are still coming through and I'm making notes constantly. Stay tuned to the podcast, to the YouTube, to the Instagram, because that's where I'm going to share about it. And I feel little sparkles in my fingers because I have a feeling that I might be throwing up a very simple sales page today. Yeah. So stay tuned. I don't have a link because I haven't done it yet. I just feel this like juicy energy vibes. All right, kids, that's it. I am cutting myself off because I absolutely could go on forever. Well, maybe not forever. If you are listening to the podcast on a podcasting streaming, then you already know that this episode is sponsored by my Manifesting a Million Moments of Joy Masterclass. I'm going to repeat this. I want to really make it super clear. So I have a very simple masterclass on manifesting a million moments of joy. It is my maybe not belief, but definitely a thought that joy is our gateway emotion that really helps us unlock our manifestations. It's really it's deeper than happiness. It's more fulfilling. And we all have experienced it. Every single person on the planet has experienced joy. However, I don't think that we're taught how to really create joy that lasts, that we're comfortable letting it grow. Over my years, now I sound very old. I am not. But over my years, I have learned how to really create this deep reservoir of joy that exists in my life, that even when everything is going fucking shit sideways, like I can draw on this deep well of joy. And it just really fuels the day. It helps me get through when things are really tough. It refills fuller and fuller and just overflows when I'm having joyful days. Like I think I burst every possible container I might have had for joy the day that we got married, because that day was so absolutely overflowing in the most magnificent possible ways with joy. So I want to share that with each of you, because I truly think that it doesn't take a lot actually to intentionally create more joy, but I want to share how to do that. Okay. I definitely I have said this in better ways in the past. Here we are. If you're curious, if you're ready to create more joy in your life, if you're like, Amy, show me the fucking way, let's do this thing, make it simple for me. I have made it as simple as I possibly can. The masterclass, I believe, is an hour and 15 minutes recording, and it comes with the workbook as well as a meditation. Super simple. You cannot do the workbook if you don't want to, but like as something that I share, I think in the masterclass, but I definitely talk about in the workbook, a lot of the growth and a lot of your actual creation is going to come from self-reflection. So workbooks, I find, are really, really powerful tools to help us uncover those and like really amplify the shifts that we're making. If you're curious about it, then please go to amyvanmeel.com/joy. When you purchase the masterclass and enroll, you get instant access to everything that I just shared. The other very cool thing that I want to make super clear is you get lifetime access to it, which means that every time I update it, add to it, zhuzh it out a bit more, you don't have to pay again. You don't need to buy, like, up level your package. So long as that masterclass or that manifesting a million moments of joy exists, you will get continual updates. Lifetime access. Until such time as it ceases to exist. All right, team. That's everything. Thank you for everything. I'm delighted that you've joined me here today. You know what to do. If you're on the YouTubes, do the likes, do the subscribes, do the things that you're supposed to make YouTube go, hey, you want more of this stuff. If you're listening on the podcast, then please do all the things on your podcasting platform that also lets the platforms and the algorithms that be know that this is great stuff, and to surface it with more people, because I would really love to get this in the hands of as many people as I possibly can. Finally, if you are on the socials, specifically if you're on Instagram, because that's really the only place that I focus any energy towards, definitely follow me on Instagram at Amy Van Meel. I always put the links in the show notes. That's where I post everything. I am working at getting better at actual posts, but I definitely pop into my stories on a fairly consistent basis. So you get to see all the fun things showing up in the stories. All right. Thank you so much for being here. I truly trust that this has landed with you in some way. And I wish you an amazing day. Bye.